Hey guys, this is Shauna from Heritage Creations Cut Flowers, and we are going into our third year, or this is our third year. And we've been having so many problems this year, so I don't know. Is it the third year? Is it the third year? I don't know. Does everybody have problems on their third year? So number one, we started having problems in the fall with the bunnies. We've grown in the upper garden, lower garden. This part of the lower garden is new, and I know that we've had bunnies because they actually made a nest in the yarrow, but never ate anything. Anyways, they started eating things. So then we started having to cover with this netting right here. So we had to spend a lot of money on netting. And then this is my third try growing ranunculus. Now, I did get better ranunculus because I actually did get stems, and I actually got flowers, which has never happened before. But the flowers aren't that big and the stems aren't that great lengthwise, and I do have aphids on one side. So there's that. And then I've always had good luck with snapdragons. Always thought they were really hardy crop. Well, having trouble this year. My snapdragons look like the short little snapdragons that you get in your bedding plants. Now, I would think it was just me because one row I started the seed. The other row I got from Farmer Bailey. So I don't think it's just me. Now, part of what I think has happened, I don't know, and honestly, this is just a guess. This is April 7th. All of a sudden we went from cold to hot. I don't know if that stunted them. So they put up stems, but they were really short. So one row I've already cut back the really short stems, because when I planted everything, I haven't pinched it at all. I was just waiting for that really tall stem, and then I was going to cut it. So I went ahead and cut the row that the seed that I started, that row, I cut that back. They're like this way too, you see them. And then I was waiting. We had a really good rain. I was waiting to see about this row of plugs that I got from Farmer Bailey. I mean, the plants themselves were looking better, but I see stems and they're super short. So the other thing that could be happening is when we did this part of the upper garden, we did have to bring in compost. So it could be the compost that they're growing in, but some of the other rows look good and they're growing in that same compost. So I'm a little bit baffled. I'll show you the drawer-sized snapdragons that I'm talking about. Let's go look. These snapdragons, no lie, were overwintered. They were planted these were started last October. And then they were planted here whenever it was time. They were planted and overwintered right here. And look at them. Now granted, I did just cut a lot of them back that had stems on them that, had flowers, because they were way too short. You couldn't even use them in anything. 4 inches maybe. So there's this row. And mind you, this is the row that I seeded and started. This is the row of plugs that I bought from Farmer Bailey, and I planted these in November. So yes, these are overwintered as well. But look, you see how tall they are, and we have flowers coming up. I mean, they should be so much taller with these flowers. And wait till I get down here, they're actually flowering. And yes, we've even fertilized these. We started fertilizing in February. Fertilize these. Look at this. I mean, okay, and looky here. I mean, that just looks the size of what you would plant in your, landscape. See these? Oh my goodness. I don't know what to do other than to go through here and to cut these back as well. And then hope that I get basically a second flush. This was what I was counting on for Mother's Day. So I don't know about that. Really don't know. And see, This is why I don't think it's soil related, because I have snapdragons here that are super short and then really nice feverfew in the rest of the row. Again, that's why I don't think it is, but I don't know. Just don't know. When you're dealing with the weather and nature and all the things, I know that each year you're going to deal with something different. I just didn't realize that this year we'd be dealing with all kinds of odd things that, I don't know, that worked for several years and now don't. So we'll see. The other thing that I thought about with the Snapdragons is I really didn't cover the Snapdragons this year. Snapdragons are pretty hardy, and we really had a mild winter. I only covered them when we got kind of this polar blast. And in years past, I took much more care to cover them more. And so I'm wondering if I need to cover them more, just to make them more warm and cozy and to just encourage more root growth. Could that be possible? I mean, they survived just fine, but maybe they didn't grow enough roots because they weren't covered as much. So I thought about that last night as well when I'm thinking about the Snapdragons. So anyway, wonder about that. Any guesses? Anybody know? What would you guess? Would you guess it's the soil that we brought in? Would you guess it's April 8th, 7th, 8th, something. I guess I can look at my watch, right? 9th. I was wrong all around. It's April 9th. And we went from cold to warm to hot. It's been 80 degrees several days, lots of days. And so I don't know if it just got hot really quickly and they just were confused and sent up these short little blooms. I have no idea. I really have no idea. So, but then over, I don't know if you can see. I mean, behind me, look at this feverfew and that row right there. I mean, I've got some stuff growing in the same rows in the same soil that are looking really good. It's just these Snapdragons are looking terrible. So I was going to hold out and not cut back the Farmer Bailey row because the plants were looking a little better, actually a lot better than the row that I seeded. But now they're sending up these short blooms. So I guess I'm just going to cut them and see if I get a second flush, if you can even call this a first flush, and see what happens. So I don't know. So we have a myriad of problems going on here in the third year. I feel like I don't even know what I'm doing. And I've been doing actually more, meaning I was really keeping up on my fertilizer and doing all the things. It's always a learning curve. There's always something going on. There's always something new. It's always a new challenge. I know that. I do. But oh my goodness. I just keep praying that we're going to have something for Mother's Day. Mother's Day. We have what? A month, basically, 4 weeks until Mother's Day. If I cut these back, will they regrow in 4 weeks? Who knows? I don't know. Do you? Let me know. Please say yes. are some bills of Ireland that I direct seeded. Here they are out in the sun, just doing their thing. I haven't done any, like, whatever. They've just been out here doing their thing. So here they are. I thinned those bills of Ireland that I just showed you. I actually replanted the plants over here. These are plants that I pulled up from that row that you just saw and planted them here. And they've been under this, for lack of a better word, sun cap. They've been kind of shaded out over here with the ranunculus. And look how tall they are compared to the ones over there in the sun. So that got me thinking today. I wonder if I just put a sun cap on those Snapdragons. I mean, it might be too late. I maybe should have done this earlier, but I'm wondering if that will help them elongate. To be determined, but this is what I'm going to try. We have a couple of different things going on in the garden today, and they're not the most fun. Meaning, we just ripped out a whole bed of Snapdragons that never even produced for us. They got about this big, and then that's it. I started these, and these never really looked the greatest. And then all of a sudden they started blooming on super short stems. And then I cut them back and we fertilized them, we did a bunch of stuff, and it still just looked like they weren't going to do anything. And it's now April 10th. We just decided that it wasn't worth it for this bed especially. So we just took out this whole bed of Snapdragons because we really need it for some zinnias. So this, just a goner. But what I did decide is I've put a sun cap, that's what I'm calling it, on top of these other two beds over here because of what I had shown before, where the bills of Ireland that has been shaded out over there is growing much taller than the bills of Ireland that's not been shaded over here. So over here behind me on these other two Snapdragon rows, we've put a shade cloth on the top, hoping to get those to stretch higher, and hopefully they'll grow tall enough to get cuts out of them. But those actually, the plants themselves looked a lot better than what I just cut out here. And then we also have a problem with Godicia. Again, we've grown Godicia and we've grown Snapdragons, and we've planted them all at the same time that we have in previous years, and they've all been super tall, like waist high. But this year, not so much. And this I did start myself. But if you can see, to find it, look. Let me find it. Here it is. Right there. See? They're starting to bud up. What? And they're super short, not even tall enough to make a cut. So now we're going to shade out this row, see if that's going to help. Here is the row of Snapdragons we've shaded out, and this is the other row of Snapdragons that we've shaded out. I ended up cutting all of these, cut anything that was taller than this netting, and I'm hoping for a second flush, I guess you will call it, that will be taller. Again, these plants at least look decent, well, better than my other ones. Now, these plants right here were planted in November and overwintered. These Snapdragons were planted in February, and these look way better. These are also Farmer Bailey plugs. So, I don't know. I just don't know. The only thing actually I can come up with is weather related, and I've said this before. All of a sudden we were cold in March, and then the end of March, 1st of April, for several weeks we got really warm up into the 80s. So the only thing I can think of is this is weather dependent. And my thought process on that is just because we've done the exact same thing with all of these plants for several years, and they've all been great. Again, they were waist high, but this year they're miniature dwarfs. And I can't figure it out. So there's that. These are the 2 rows that we got planted out in the upper garden. I have some sunflowers, Oklahoma salmon zinnias, lemon basil, asters, and some mahogany splendor at the end of that. What I've done, just because of the trouble I had with the Snapdragons, I've put almost the same thing in this row as I did in that row, because I just want to see if there's any difference, like what is going on with these Snapdragons. So anyway, I have just about the same. I split in this row as in the lower garden, except for the azuratum. The azuratum I just put all down there. And so we'll see. Is there any difference? I do not know. This is the row where we took out the Snapdragons, and I've planted my summer annuals. First summer annuals have gone in the ground. So, well, aside from really sunflowers, which is really the first. But anyways, so in this row, I have sunflowers, Oklahoma pink, zinnias, azuratum, cinnamon basil, and mahogany splendor. Again, the same in this row as I do in upper garden row, to really test the soil to see if there's any difference there as to why the Snapdragons would have been stunted. So that's a test. It has been a couple weeks, maybe just a week. I have to look back. But this shade cloth on the Godicia is really helping. They are stretching and not putting out quite as many buds as they were before. So it is really helping. I mean, they were super small and they're really starting to stretch. So these are looking good. Now, over here to the Snapdragons. Not so sure that the Snapdragons are doing the same thing, but we're keeping the shade cloth on them anyway, just to see what we can get, if we get anything out of this row of Snapdragons. This row of Snapdragons is looking pretty decent. Again, this was planted in February, so these should be really far behind, but we'll see how this does. I am now thinking it really is weather dependent. I have looked up a lot about Snapdragons, and they do say the intensity of the sun can affect them. And I think, you know, maybe with all the weather changes and whatnot, I think that some of it has to do with the intensity of the sun this spring, causing them to be short here. Because over there, again, that I showed earlier, my bells of Ireland are super short, the ones that have just been out here in the field, and they've never done that, but the ones that just happen to be under the shade cloth over there, they look beautiful. So I definitely think it has something to do with that. So fingers crossed on the Godicia. I do have a couple weeks till Mother's Day. I don't think Godicia is going to be ready for Mother's Day, and definitely no Snapdragons this year for Mother's Day. But hopefully I'll have a lot of this larkspur right here, which is really odd because larkspur usually flowers much earlier than this. But dang it, I'll take it. And let me just show you the campanula that got covered. Here is the campanula that has gotten covered, and it is definitely getting a lot taller. So I think the shade has helped the campanula as well. Some of it's getting so tall it's touching the top, so at some point we're going to have to take these shade cloths off. Hate that, because we've made them as tall as we can. But anyway, because look at this one. Definitely bending. So it's definitely helping. I wish that I could say that I'll get a super late crop of Snapdragons out of this, but I don't know if that's possible. But at least we'll know for next year. Next year I'm definitely covering my Snapdragons with a shade cloth, for sure. So there's that. I have learned that and take it as a learning curve, and that's what I'm doing with this.
Under